What up, what up, what up? It is your girl, Trusista, and I got my boy DJ Heavy Love on the ones and twos with me. And we are interviewing Mr. Omar Gooden. That's Cuba Gooden Jr. brother, y'all. So most definitely, y'all show some love and listen to this interview. It's going down properly right here on Flex Radio.
Brunswick, yeah, the singing group named the Sweethearts and the Lovables. And when they met, they got together, they started having children. My mother said, I'm going to go ahead and take care of these babies. She put her career to the side and kind of just back my father in his career, right? So my mother being an entertainer, raising the kids, basically, she was able to guide us and she was also my manager as an actor at a young age, right? But we were a very musical family, always. Now, we ran on hard times when my father went out to Africa, South Africa during apartheid, and came back and got blacklisted for doing so. So he had to start over. We lost a lot of finances, houses, cars, all that. We got to the point where we went to live with my grandparents while my father was out kind of trying to reestablish his name. And he's from New York. My mother and father were born in Harlem. Sister and brother born in the Bronx. Then they moved to California where I was born. Right. So then when my mother's parents moved out there as well, that's who we were staying with. So my father went out to New York and we kind of started over, went through some hard times. We were homeless for a while and we landed. We was like living in our car and so forth, some shelters. And my brother always had a dream of being an actor. Right. So, that was kind of the drive, trying to find him an agent. We landed out in North Hollywood. I wound up going to school out there. But all the while, we were musical. In the car, we would sing. My mom, she got born again. She was born again Christian who got saved right before I was born, right? And coming from a long way from coming from Harlem and fighting women in the streets, smoking cigarettes and all this. And my brother and sister looking at her like, wait a minute. How you talking about Jesus? A minute ago, you fighting people and then doing all that, But when she got saved, and she was all about singing, and it was just joy all the time. So as hard as it was living in a car, it was always music. Always music, always songs, always singing. I would watch her pray things and sing things into existence and so forth. And, my era was hip hop, right? My brother, my sister, 10 years older than me. They were more into the R&B, you know what I mean? And obviously my father, mother was soul singers. So, it's funny, every generation looks on the next generation like, that ain't real music, our music was better type of thing. Like I know, when I was into R&B for a minute, it was like Jodeci and Boys to Men and such. And my father and my mother would be like, they ain't real singers. They sing it till they know. They don't know how to sing with their diaphragm. They ain't pushing it, you know what I mean? And then my thing was hip hop. And as I started, at 4 years, not 4 years old, in the fourth grade rather, I remember writing my own lyrics, rapping with the sixth graders and like recess or whatnot, unfolding my little raps. And I was bit early, you know what I mean? But I always spoke clearly, right? So here's the thing with music and how music and acting kind of went hand in hand with me was that I was always articulate. I was always very clear speaking, all right? So in the acting world, it worked in my benefit because the agent that I had sent me out on all roles, not just black roles. That's why I landed that TV series, Wild and Crazy Kids. They were just looking for anybody. I just walked in there speaking clearly and with a lot of energy and excitement, and I booked it, right? And that would help me book different, diverse type of roles, not just like necessarily the black kid, even though my more famous roles were in Wild and Crazy Kids were hanging with Mr. Cooper, right? And then after hanging with Mr. Cooper finished, I got Smart Guy. And then when Smart Guy finished, I get a call to do Baby Boy. But again, all the while, I'm doing music. I'm rapping. I got rap, all my friends, we had groups. I've been in like several different rap groups. I've had record deals that, like a single deal with Thump Records, and we did like a song called Malacita. It was just a one and done. But then I was always heavily, most of my time was acting. Now, the thing is, the best way I can explain it is, if I was to be a rapper, I would have to be a rapper. I would have to completely, you'd have to hit the streets and you have to push your record and do the mixtapes. I would do some of it when I had the time, but I didn't have the time to fully push having a rap career. But also because I was an actor, it hindered me more so because people would say, oh man, I can hear you rap. Now, sometimes it would work out like on the intro to Smart Guy, the opening credits, that's me rapping, You know what I mean? And Hang on Mr. Cooper, I think it was episode or two where I'm rapping. Because they knew I could rap, so they would just like put it in there, here and there. You know what I mean? It was always there. But then when I was trying to get serious and get like a deal, they were like, man, why don't you do gospel rap? Because you're a TV actor. I'm like, gospel rap? I don't know gospel rap. You know what I mean? So I actually hid behind the moniker of Big O, right? I actually put an album out under Big O and then found out that there was a couple other artists named Big O. So it wasn't until recently when my father passed away in 2017 that I really felt strongly like, okay, I really got to kind of pick up the torch. No one else in our family is doing music. You know what I'm saying? I can sing, but I'm, hip hop and rap is really my strength. So that's when I took it a little more seriously, and I got together with Focus, who was a longtime friend of mine, Bernard Edwards Jr., right? Whose dad was a singer as well, back in Chic and all back in the day. So he's actually a big producer with Aftermath, right? So him and I put together an album called The Excuse, which is out on Spotify, right? So this was the first album that I put out, but again, I put it out under Big O at first, and it didn't get the recognition that I wanted because I put it under a different name. So a few years later is when I said, I got to brand myself in Omar Goody. So I re-released it under Omar Goody. I put out another album. It's a lot of stuff. I'm kind of jumping around trying to give you the long and short of it. But there's, let's see, I did sign with West Coast Mafia, right? The music group out in California. Their lead artist was Debo, and him and I put out an album called Trading War Story. Now, the title of the whole album is Debo and Omar Big O Gooding presents Trading War Story, right? So on the catalog version, it's just Debo. That's all you see. So that's, again, I'm like hidden. But there's a bunch of songs on there, and you'll see Big O in the credits, and oh, man, this boy's been doing this for about 15, some odd years or so, right? But then some more current events. What recently happened, I recently connected with a brother out of Buffalo, New York by the name of DJ M80, and he sent me some beats. And this is the latest chapter in my hip-hop, is that we did a song together called Overstand Me that we put out, and a lot of the DJ pools around the country have been picking it up and playing it, and it started picking up steam. Then more recently, I got into this back and forth with rapper Cameron, which took it to a whole nother level. And then when I actually did a diss record against him, I finally, after all these years of doing music, got recognition by all of the hip-hop blogs, all of the hip-hop magazines. They were like, damn, we didn't know this dude could rap. This is crazy. And then that's kind of escalated to there, and it'll culminate in my first full-length album called Overstand Me, produced by DJ M80 and a couple other producers with a couple of cool little features on there, which I'll be dropping October 17th this year.
Wow. Look, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you because I know you ain't know that we was going together when you was on Baby Boy, when you was Sweet Pea. We was together. We was together.
We was together. Okay, I figured that. I knew you sounded familiar. I'm your radio side dude. Then is what it is. Then.
Yeah.
The radio side dude. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, most definitely. And we gonna keep it like that.
Copy that.
Most definitely. But I love all the things that you do. Basically your family has a which is a good thing. Your family has a great repertoire, so I've never heard no negativity. So you have a family like I have, one of those families to where everybody is achieving, everybody has positivity going on, so that's a good thing. So you are one of those actors, I don't even want to call you an actor because you everything. You're one of those legends that I could compare to, that I could look up for inspiration. I could look up for inspiration too. So I just want to tell you that you and your family are inspirational people. And when I heard Legacy, that was the first track that I heard when it came to Flex. So I want to thank you for even supporting the fact of me having Flex. So thank you. Because Legacy was an eye-opener for me.
Yeah, Legacy was dope too, and that was a song that we put on the album. That's another brother that I need to mention. Stephen Keys the Mogul Ellis was another producer that I met before DJ I made it almost 2 years ago, and it was the same type of deal. He sent me a beat, and we did a song, and then he said, "Man, I got this other beat. I want to give it to you, but I wanted us to get a song done first. But I can't wait no more. I want you to hear it." And he sends me this beat, and it starts off with "Everybody Plays the Fool," and then it goes into a hip hop beat where it has my father's voice sampled throughout the song, and the shit got me emotional. Like, I couldn't believe how strong the music was. I was like, man, you got to understand, we have been trying since my father passed to do some type of song that kind of is like a tribute to him, that'll do him justice. And who better than his own voice singing throughout the track? And I know his hit song "Everybody Plays the Fool" that was that we used at the beginning. Every time he performed this song live, he would do a breakdown at the end of the song, really show off his vocal talents and his range and everything. So I said, well, why don't we find that? And we went online, we saw the Soul Train clip when he performed on Soul Train, and we took that sound bite of the end of it. And there's a part in the song "Legacy" where I say, "Go on, Pops, give him some," and I throw it to him, and then he does this long breakdown run, and then I continue rhyming. And it was a healing song for a lot of us. I mean, we're still grieving pretty heavily about it, the loss, because he wasn't sick. He was just not really sick to the point of we knew he was sick and something was wrong. It was more so he was sick and kind of keeping it to himself, and he was slowly debilitating. And then when he pulled over, and had the heart attack in the car, that was it. You know what I mean? So it was sudden for us. And it was real deep, man. I mean, I remember I played it for my brother, and he was like, "Man, it's the best song I ever heard in my life."
Yeah.
And I had, I'm mentioning him in the song, and I'm talking about us being brothers, and then our father, and so forth. And I mentioned his kids, and I say my niece, my nephew, So I kind of gave a big shout out to everybody, and it being Legacy was really strong. I mean, it's something honestly I probably need to re-release it now that I've kind of got the attention as an artist that I do.
Yeah, most definitely. And you know what? A lot of your stuff that you've done, first of all, me and you grew up together. We grew up together. So I'm 48. So you was in
Okay.
October, I was in April. So most that we
Okay.
grew up together. So most of all the stuff that you've done, I've saw, and especially hanging with Mr. Cooper. And
Okay.
speaking of hanging with Mr. Cooper, how did you like that? How you like that hanging out with Mr. Cooper?
Hanging with Scoop was awesome. I mean, that was another, it was growth for me. I started acting when I was 9. By 10 and 11, I'd done things like Webster, and then I did a movie with Bill Cosby called Ghost Dad. And then by 12, I did Wild and Crazy Kids, which was the Nickelodeon show for 3 years. And then when I turned 15, that's when I auditioned for Hanging with Mr. Cooper. When I auditioned for Hanging with Mr. Cooper, I booked what was called the presentation, right? So the presentation happened before the pilot was even sold. We did the presentation, it was sold, picked up the pilot, shot the pilot, waited for it to get sold, then we shot the first season. And that first season, I was a regular, but I was only 7 out of 13 episodes. So I wasn't in every single episode.
Yeah.
It wasn't until the 4th and 5th final season that they made me a series regular that was in every single episode. But it was a lot that I went through. I mean, I still am close with Mark Curry to this day, and as I transition, as if I don't have enough jobs into stand-up comedy, he's been a second mentor in that as well. But even at the time, I got into some trouble because acting was my job. But as a young man in L.A. in the streets with means and so forth and so on, the guys that I had around me were cats that I know could handle themselves, which were affiliated gang members. So we had guns and pistols in the car and all that type of madness, and kind of more. So we get into a little bit of here and there. But I had guys that knew, they understood the assignment around me. You know what I mean? They knew who they had to kind of protect in a way. I didn't have these cats that would just go get into stuff and then point the camera at me and say, "Look what he's out here doing." You know what I mean? It was the opposite when I grew up. But I got into fights and I got head up phase and all that stuff. All type of madness. But one day we got pulled over and they found like 4 guns in my car, and I was arrested. The 2 or 3 guys that was with me were arrested, but I claimed all the guns. They were all mine. And they threw the charges out for them, and I was on probation for a while, and so forth and so on. But I was going to, obviously, when I was all in the news, as a Hanging with Mr. Cooper star, hanging in jail, Mark Curry had to intercede and step up and tell the people, all the producers and whatnot, like, I vouched for this kid, give him another chance. And then he told me directly, man, you got to step up, get back to work, you got to stand up and apologize, really pour your heart out and try to save your career, bro. And that's exactly what I did. He helped me out there, man. So that was really the first major turning point in my career / life. Mark Curry standing up for me, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I owe that dude a lot.
And that was a blessing because you don't have many people. Once you get in trouble, it's like everybody turn their back, like they just run the whole other way, like you a disease.
Exactly.
So that was a blessing.
Amen. Sure enough.
It was a blessing, most definitely. Let me ask you this question. So growing up, doing all the things that you and your family did you ever want it to be a regular kid, as we would call it?
No. I just wasn't in me. I mean, obviously, you think about it, I didn't have the time to where that would have been an option. You know, it's like when you're 6, 7 years old, you're just a kid, and you are who you are. At 8, 9 years old, you're just becoming what would be a young adult, if that. You know, and then I started working already, and I loved it. You know, I begged my mom, "Oh, you got to let me go on this audition." You know, I mean, I actually stumbled across it because I went and picked up a script for my brother. Because like I said, he had started acting already. He had an agent, so forth. He was taking classes, so forth. So he's 18, 19 years old. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? So I walk in and pick up a script for him, and the agent was like, "Hey, kid, send you some audition." Great smile. I'll do it. You know. Mm-hmm. And that was good. I mean, I had 2 auditions in one day, the very first time out. And the first one was terrifying. Some big, tall, skyscraper building, a bunch of kids that knew what they were doing, and, I blew that. But then the second audition in that same day was at a house, a bunch of kids throwing the football around, just kind of comfortable and relaxed. Learn my lines, went in and get it. A lot of people don't give auditions before they finally book something, but I gave 2 auditions in one time, but one of them, the rest was history. So there's somebody saying static as hell. What's going on?
I don't know. Right? I was trying to find out. I thought it was on your end.
Nah, it might be mine because I was actually trying to make sure it wasn't me, but I guess it was. That's what we call cheap phone service, and I do apologize.
he know he over there balling. He over there balling.
It's all good. I got a couple of questions for you because first off, I wanna thank you for coming on with us and sharing, the information about you, man. But I have to wonder, and I often think about this because when I first got your music, it blew me away because it wasn't what I expected.
Right.
I was expecting it to be some comical, something like that, but you was going straight in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute, this dude ain't been out before. Wait a minute, why we ain't heard of this cat? Now, after listening to the music, then following you on your comedy tour, that you was on with Charles Allen and a couple other great acts y'all had, meeting up in places, giving great shows, man. I want to know, what was it like to juggle being the artist, the comedian, the actor, plus you got to remember you're a father, family man.
Yeah.
I mean, how you juggle all that, bro?
I don't know.
I know God.
No, what it is the way my brain works too is, I can't really sit still. Like I've always got to have something else going. So it's like if I'm acting, if I got a script, like right now, I'm out in New York and we got a film that starts 8:00 in the morning. But I'm doing this interview here. When I get done here, I'm meeting up with my producer. We're going to go over the final edits for my album. And it's just to turn up the page, like sitting down and scrolling on the internet and then going on the, everything you swipe is something different and you kind of get engaged and blah, 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 and then you put that down and then you get back to this and your kids walk in the room and now you do your daddy and this, blah, 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 and so forth and so on. I'm traveling, I'll be home. I'm sure I'm waiting for a phone call any minute. My kid's going to be calling, "Hey, Dad, let me tell you about my day," and that type of thing. And then, I just have the brain that it's okay. Like it's not too much. Like, oh my God, you guys leave me alone. I got too much to do. It's like, no, I'll do this. And then I need to be able to shut that down and then switch over to something else. You know, if it gets a lot, I just need a nap. That's about it. But I'll be asleep thinking about the next thing I got to do. You know, and then you know, especially with acting, it's kind of funny too because I was trying to explain this to somebody, the difference between having the brain to memorize a lot of lines and then having the brain to memorize songs. It's like a different part of the brain because with lines, like this movie that I'm out here doing, got a lot of lines, so forth and so on. I'll study them tonight. Tomorrow, we'll do scenes. Every time I do a scene, memorizing it isn't a problem. Once it's done, it's gone. It's like erased from my memory. Now, if we move on to another scene, that's it. We'll do the next scene and so forth and so on. But if we did scene 1 through 5, by the time I get to scene 5, if they say, hey, something happened earlier, we had the wrong outfit on, we got to do scene 1 over again, I have to relearn those lines. Like, I have to put them back in my brain. Like, okay, well, let me see the pages for scene 1 again. And then I'll look at them, and then they'll be loaded up, and then I can do the scene. They don't just stay in there forever. Whereas music is different because you have to perform. And you do it, you know, you record a song. I write my own music. You know, I've always been a lyricist. So I'll write a song. I'll record the song, reading it off the page or off of the tablet or the phone that I wrote it on. And once it's recorded, it's still not stuck in my brain. I have to listen to it all the time, over and over, to really get it locked in there. Because my brain is an actor. I'm an actor. I have an actor brain. I can memorize anything. Like, damn, I can really memorize that. Oh, that was crazy. Give us a little bit more of that monologue for that movie. I don't remember that monologue for that movie. I memorized it to perform it. Once it's performed, it's gone. You know what I'm saying? So the tricky thing for me is storing music in my brain. So like when I perform, I really like if I have a performance, I know I'm gonna perform. I'm singing that song and listening to that song all day long to make sure it's locked in. Now the only thing, and this is the crazy part, that I don't have to do that with is comedy. I can do an hour-long comedy set because it's typically basically the same set. I have a structure that I've structured in my brain. There's an opening set where I talk about the people, and I have the jokes about the type of people in the crowd and audience, and this type and this shape, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I come up with a couple jokes about the area and surrounding, you know, we're in New York out here, Buffalo, you know, Buffalo Wings, delicious, you know why they call it Buffalo, blah, 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 blah. And then I go into my stuff about the family and the shows and the life and this and that and that. But I have an hour plus worth of material just in my head to do comedy. And that's my number one path. I mean, it's a tough between comedy and music. That's it. That's like my 1A and 1B. And acting is the job. The job pays the bills. The job is what I can do standing on my head. You know, tomorrow I'll get in. I'll go through hair, makeup, whatever, get the clothing, learn the scene, do the job, and then that's all. I can go, you know, visit a comedy club. They'll be like, hey, you want to get on stage? I'll up stage and get them 30 minutes to an hour. Because that's already scored. They say, hey, want to go one of your songs? I'm like, oh, wait. That I got to learn. I need a moment for that because I have to go over a few times, look for the songs. So it's really interesting how my brain works. But the long and short of it is it's something that I've been doing so long that it's not difficult, if that makes sense. You know, it's like, damn, it's like you make it look easy. It's not easy per se, but I know, you know, what mode I have to get into to deliver what I have to deliver. Even doing these interviews is you know, this is work. That's why I charge a lot of people for these. Because it's like you want to be charismatic, you want to be funny, you want to tell the story, but you also have to tap into the part of the brain that's the storyteller and explain things to people that don't know. But I think interviews are very important because, like you said, like, wow, I didn't even know he did music, or oh, I forgot he was in that show, or I didn't know this, or I didn't know that. But I want to know music and have people listen to this and so forth and so on. And further that career, well, I have to do interviews and tell these stories that people don't even may not have particularly known about stuff.
Okay. So when the next time you coming back to Shreveport?
Shreveport. You know what? Maybe sooner than you think. I was actually supposed to be there. I was supposed to go to Baton Rouge. I can actually go there quite often from Shreveport. How far are you from my back? Can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah. How far are you guys from Baton Rouge?
I'm 3 hours from Baton Rouge.
Oh, about
I'm
3 hours.
I'm in Shreveport, so
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, well, I'll be close. I know I'm going back to the Rouge. But Shreveport, I'm not sure. I have to look on the calendar and see what's up.
yeah, I'll come to Baton Rouge. I got to come to meet you. Yeah, most definitely.
Come on. Especially you see your radio side dude. I mean, you got to pull
Yeah,
up.
yeah, we gotta take some pictures. I was trying to catch you when you were supposed to come here. Then I don't know what I was doing, Heavy Love. I don't know what I was
Mm,
doing. I think I had to go out of town. When you came in town, I went out of town.
I like that a lot. People always say like, "I just missed you. Let me know." But
Oh,
yeah, now we putting together another tour too with Mark Curry. He wants to go. Hey, on this tour too. I said, let's do it. He's from out. Now he got a chance to he really get down. This one for the tour lives out in L.A. And he was like, "Yeah, man, put that ready for a special, man." I thought I was saying that. So we put together something special for 2026. I'm gonna find the time to do it. You know, between that promoting this album, I'm gonna probably just have to get a big camper or RV and take my kids with me, so I don't stay on
yeah,
the front.
most definitely. And make sure we get it over here at Flex. Get that emblem over here at
That's
Flex, most definitely.
1,000%. October 17th. Look forward to it.
Yeah, yeah, before your birthday.
Copy that. Today. Yeah.
Turn up
Actually,
then,
wait.
turn up and show out.
Come
Get
on.
that money for your birthday. I see you.
Come on. Come on. Libra gang. You know how I do.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Heavy Love, you got something else for him so we can let him get ready to go and get
Uh,
prepared for tomorrow morning?
I know this man is so busy. I'm not gonna take up no more of his time. I really appreciate you again, my brother, for giving us the opportunity to tap in with you. And please, for all matters, just make sure you shoot us some music, man.
I
Cause we're gonna play it. We're gonna play it. And the station is up 24/7, so you can always turn in, and you never know when you're gonna get a spin.
I know that's right. Did you get the records I sent you? I emailed them to you.
Yes, sir. They've already played on the flick.
Yeah, they
Copy that.
already in rotation. We already got them in. Actually, we played them before you came on.
Okay.
And they're gonna basically stay in. You know, they're gonna be on
Okay. Keep
daily.
on
So
spinning.
let's get
Cool.
you
Well, I'm
in
gonna hit
there.
y'all with the album. We should have it finalized soon too, so that we can get it to everybody for so that y'all have it early before we actually drop. So I'm telling you, my man is pulling up like literally any moment. So we're gonna go over to watch some music for a couple hours. Tell him to give me some sleep. But
Most
I appreciate
definitely.
y'all, man. It's been fun.
Thank you so much. You have a great night, and thank you for tuning in to Flex.
You too. All right.
Peace, and we outie.